Good day, everyone. Welcome to Mog Senior High School. This is Sir Glenn Cadiz Arandilia for Lesson 2 Creative Writing, Elements, Technique, and Literary Devices in Various Modes of Communication. So, um, we're not yet done with poetry. Last time for my two classes, the grade 12 UMS A and the grade 12 GAS. Still have a lot of activities for poetry later on, but we will try to finish first the lesson 2. This is actually fiction for more activities later on. Okay, let's proceed. So, lesson 2 elements, techniques, and literary devices, and various modes of fiction. Alright, let's proceed. So again, we have as usual the at the end of this lesson, the objective. The ASUS lesson, the learners are expected to define the fiction and learn its various modes, understand the elements of techniques and literary devices of various modes of fiction, and write journals entries and other short compositions exploring key elements of fiction. Right, let's proceed. So what I know, instruction. Again, in your activity notebook, recall what you have learned or read about fiction and its various models or modes. Read and answer the following statements in your notebook. Write the letter of your answer to the questions in each item. So answer this one in your activity notebook. Simple as it is. Just remember all those things. You're done with this. What is it? What is fiction? The world of literature is quite a huge and wide-ranging. As a matter of fact, it does not control the scope of certain written work into something that is real or based on factual events or information only. While factual literary works are all over us nowadays, fiction has undoubtedly become most famous among avid readers and literary works enthusiasts as well. And of course, now um, because of pandemic, people are reading more and more fictions and the rest of the outputs by different literary writers. Right? So various modes of fiction. Traditionally, fiction covers but is not limited to novels, short stories, fables, legends, myths, fairy tales, epic narrative poetry, and plays. It also includes comic books, animated cartoons, stop motions, films, video games, television programs, among others. To date, fiction comes with three classifications, namely genre fiction, literary fiction, and realistic fiction. Okay. One, letter A, we have the genre fiction, also referred to us as the popular fiction. The genre fiction is written to appeal to the readers and fans who are already familiar with certain genre by producing written work which is fitted to the particular genre. Okay, so we have different topics or different themes. Among the famous genre fiction writers and literary figures in the history are George Simenon, the writer of Maigret detective novels and known as the most novelistic novelist in French literature. Okay, Jean Bonville, who publishes crime novels and science fiction writers Doris Lessing and Margaret Atwood. Now, in our time today, we are very lucky that novels are not just in the library or found in the library. They are now part of Netflix. Okay, some filmmakers, they created it into a film to reach out to the audience, different audiences, so you can have those novels. You can watch them in Netflix. Anyway, history of genres. Read this one. Historically, genre started as classification system under the ancient Greek literature. So it all started from Greek literature, Roman literature, those early literature, way 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 back. Okay, before all the modern times. The genre below is the list of the most common genres which are used in contemporary publishing. Okay, We have crime fiction. The genre is also known as detective story, murder mystery, mystery novels, and police novels. Most of them are, you know, um, although fiction, but most are based from realities, based from really crimes that happened. Fantasy, real world myth and folklore is often in the source of inspiration of the genre. It started from oral tradition, which later became fantasy literature and drama, beginning in the 20th century. Like here, among the common examples of this genre are the Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, and The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Okay, and again, just like what I said, that we have movies of this one, right? Romance. The primary focus of this genre is the relationship and romantic love between two people. Its main goal is to feed its readers with emotional satisfaction as well as the optimistic and happy ending by creating a plot which focuses on a man and a woman falling in love with each other and struggling to maintain that love. Very, very Filipino. We love romance. Science fiction, although related to fantasy, this genre contains stories which are at least grounded in science based fact or theory at the moment the story was written. Right? Like space travel, time travel, okay, going to different planets, seeking lives there or any sign of life there. Inspirational. This literary genre is mainly written for the purpose of inspiring its readers through the use of anecdotes. Okay? To inspire readers. Horror. Filipinos also love horror. As the name of the implies, horror fiction aims to produce fear, fascination, and revulsion on the part of the readers. Most of us non-moviegoers, they love to watch horrors. It's more exciting, and although we don't want fear, but we love to be scared. I don't know. Anyway, literary fiction. In contrast with genre fiction, this category of fiction is written to discover any aspect of human condition. Alright, often it involves written works such as commentary, political criticisms, reflection about human condition. The following are the most common characteristics of literary fiction. So these are the characteristics of literary fiction. Realistic fiction. Ironic as it may sound, realistic fiction is a category of imaginative writing which contains stories that could have happened to people or animals in place which time which is realistic or believable. The following are the main characteristics of the realistic fiction. Okay. Elements of fiction. Alright, so elements of fiction. We have the character. Okay. The character is considered the life element of the story or the fiction. Okay. Character. It refers to figure of literary works. Fictional versus real characters should be made. Below are the different types of characters: round characters, flat characters, dynamic characters, static characters, regular characters, recurring characters, guest character. Now, the plot, this element of fiction, also known as the storylines, refers to major events that move through the action and the narrative. This is like the cone shape of the story, as like what I discussed in face-to-face class. Okay, a plot has five significant elements, namely the exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, the denouement, or the resolution. So these are the parts of the plot. Point of view could be first person, third person, or the omniscient or the all-knowing narrator. The setting element refers to the time, geographic location involved in particular story, where and when it happened. Style. While the other elements mentioned above are the great important in writing fiction, an author should also be fully aware about the style in order to create a literary work which catches attention. So this is more on the author's side. The theme element of the fiction is considered the central or dominating ideas in literary work. Basically, it refers to the general message of the story. It is really the message of the story or the fiction. Techniques and literary devices in the fiction. So read these techniques, this part. I have discussed this earlier. Those elements of literature also. Allegory, symbol, irony, imagery. We're done with this. The same concept. Figurative language, we're done with that. Simile, metaphor. You'll be encountering them also in fiction. Personification, hyperbole. Alright, so what's in your notebook? Answer the following questions. So answer this one. Alright, we have rubrics for that later. Activity 2 in your notebook, write a short composition or story which clearly applies the key elements in literary device or fiction which have discussed in this lesson. So make a composition, a short story, very short lang with the same plot discussed earlier. So this is an original short story, based from you. Make it like based from your imagination or a realistic one that happened. Make a story out of that. I know you can make it. Very short only. Okay, we have a rubric for that. So, assessment, answer the following in your notebook again. Alright? Okay. Test 2, essay. Describe each element of fiction enumerated below. We have exposition, rising action, climax, folding action, denouement. Actually, the plot. So explain them. You are now done with lesson 2 for module 2. Congratulations and keep going. It's time to proceed for module 3. Thank you very much for listening and watching. I will be giving instructions later on, more and further instructions in our GC. Thank you and good day.